Okay, what's going on, guys? This is David. This is probably going to be my longest video because I'm talking through the releases of 2024. So, just to give a quick background, ever since February of 2024, I had listened to, many of you may know him, Nick D. He kind of gives artists advice on one of his channels. So, took that advice. Basically, I was in the situation where I had a few songs. I had several songs that I'd written that I was just waiting for them to be perfect. I wanted to wait until I got, whatever the lottery ticket of a record deal was like. I was waiting. However, I had had a few out. What had happened was I work at a church as a music person, and the pastor that I worked with at my last church, he had wanted to pay to get this one song, my first song called "You Are Still Good," and it is my song we see right here, 3 years ago. So I did my best. I kind of looked around my area. I'm so unfamiliar with production, and that is my biggest weakness. And that has been my biggest obstacle as I've moved forward publishing songs. So You Are Still Good, that cost me, I'll be transparent, $500. It cost my pastor $500. So he was it meant a lot to me because it was like he believed in me and in the music that I wrote. So we got that done. You Are Still Good. It's been out for 3 years. It's definitely my most viewed song, but I haven't done a lot of marketing to my own detriment. So You Are Still Good. Then what we did here is You Are Still Good acoustic. And by the way, this is DistroKid is my distributor. I just have found I kind of am cheap, so I want to keep the most money, I guess, to myself. So if you can justify paying the annual subscription, you keep 100% of your own stuff, barring that it's all original. So You Are Still Good, $500 in, one song. You Are Still Good acoustic. Oh, and I also want to say, like, no, that is probably on the low end if you wanted to get something professionally recorded. So no hate to the price. The guy that I worked with, I would recommend him to anyone in my situation prior. So, okay. So You Are Still Good acoustic. So basically, we took the tracks from You Are Still Good, and I had given him a heads up because this song in particular, I had wrote, it was originally on piano, me singing, and then my wife playing violin. So I knew I wanted to isolate those tracks and eventually put out an acoustic version. I'd given him a heads up, and then all he did was remix it, and that cost was 150. So here we are, 650, 2 songs in, right? Which brings us to this song Finally that we see here. And let me back up actually. Okay, so within DistroKid, you get these extras that you can add. And a few years ago, apparently I wanted enough of them and I didn't know very much about the YouTube Content ID stuff. But basically, it licenses your songs in a way that if someone uses it on YouTube, they get like, this happened on Facebook with like literally one of my songs. So something where the poster gets notified that, okay, this is not your original music. You need to share the revenue. So the split, I'm not sure exactly how YouTube does it, but back then I thought it was a good idea. Now none of my songs have any extras on them because I just want to put stuff out regularly and as little money as possible. So I am literally doing this the cheapest way possible. Okay, so in between You Are Still Good acoustic, and finally there's a song Beyond, which is right here. Then the same pastor for my birthday, he had given me some money to get another song done because he knew that I had songs. So now we're 2 songs in, an acoustic version, and then finally, the guy that I used, the producer, he worked with one of his friends to track the drums. Finally does not have drums, basically. It was a little bit less, it was 400. So here I am, 3 songs, an acoustic version, and we're like 1,050. Right. Okay, so that is a significant amount of money to me. I don't know about everyone else. I apologize if that math was incorrect. I just want to keep going because this is probably gonna be a straight take. So that has been my musical releases up to now. So we're at 1650. So my math was wrong. Okay, so 1650 in for 3 songs and an acoustic version. It's tracking. I mean, if you were to keep up with Nashville studio time, whatever, you know, it makes sense, but that's just not to the level that I can sustain a musical career. Okay, so I'd had a handful of songs, right? Nick D comes along and I catch him. The first song I hear by him is Minefield. Then I just get hooked on his catalog. Come to find out, he has over 150 songs released. And, you know, I think to myself, wow, that's crazy. And then you get to know the independent industry a little bit more. And people are doing this for a lot less money than what I had previously thought. So basically, his methodology was to release a song every 2 weeks. When he initially started, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago at this point, he released a song with a music video. With those capabilities, he kind of grew and grew and grew, and he's doing incredible today. Yeah, so he's definitely like someone you look at as, wow, it's possible without being signed to a record label, because not getting into all the cons of record labels today. So here we get into, and I just kind of want to talk about my releases. So I start his advice, and his advice, just to clarify, is he recommends releasing regularly. So every 2 weeks, he put out a song. So I wanted to kind of give myself some leeway, but I wanted to commit to 2 a month for me. And I will say, for the most part, I think I made that happen this year. I started in February. I put out 20 releases. So I want to kind of go through them here. Age in Our Nation. This was like my test track. It was my first published one. I was really happy with it. I used a Blue Yeti microphone. I have it up there, and GarageBand. So things kind of worked out. You could call it luck. Okay, so I started a new job. My job had a MacBook Pro that the last person brought. It crazy. I will say that God worked this out, but had a MIDI keyboard, and I didn't know kind of knew what a MIDI keyboard was, but my cousin, who does know what he's talking about, had recommended a picture of one, and that exact one was in my office. So it was very crazy. So I got GarageBand, the free version, on the MacBook Pro, hooked up the MIDI keyboard, bought whatever cables I needed. So here we go, Age in Our Nation. You can listen to this on my year one playlist. It's on my channel. If you want to hop to Spotify, I think it's my artist pick, that playlist. So I catalog all of my 2024 releases are in that playlist. So these 3 songs are not, because I wanted to truly, like, as an independent artist producer, I wanted to have my kind of evolution as it hopefully got better. Right? So Age in Our Nation kind of messed with all the settings. It was kind of a get to know you with GarageBand and what everything that was possible within it. And I was just kind of fiddling around, right? So some timing. I was tracking everything myself. I didn't know about the quantize feature. Then Come and See, and this one I used a cajon setting, but still the drums, and did the beat myself on the MIDI keyboard, piano, strings. I had upgraded mics to, I think it was one of the Shure. It wasn't the SM7DB. I think it was just the SM7 Plus, the kind of cheaper version that they have. So I use that for Come and See right here. Stay Again was the upgrade to Logic. So I did those 2 in GarageBand, and then I wanted to see what Logic had, and I did like it better. GarageBand has kind of the overview, and then Logic, the one-time price, I think it's worth it. So you can kind of dive in and tweak the stuff, that the plugins that they have in the DAW, the digital audio workstation. You can kind of control them a lot better. So I found that. Stay Again, I was in my producer version. I didn't listen to how it would sound on other speakers. I just listened to the headphones, and now I see why people listen to it on a lot, like, different kinds of speakers. So Stay Again, I will say the bass is too much. Also, I was still programming it, like, with my hand, and I just didn't listen back. I was just so excited to get this track out. But I should have done a little bit of just listening to it a little bit better. Now I probably listen to it too much, but yeah, there's a couple of bass hits that is too much in my opinion. Okay, let's go on to Not Good. This one, I really like the song. I tracked the drums myself, so I didn't use easy drums for this, so I was kind of coming up with it kind of like that, but then there was a couple of fills where I used you could listen to it if you want, but there's a couple of fills where I was like, I want it to sound like a real drum set, kind of like a worship style fill song. So that was my kind of qualms with that one. I love the song. Okay, so same picture. It was kind of another one as I'm just like, I'm not a drummer at all, and I wish I could use something to where I'm very self-conscious about the drums, I guess, in my songs, just to be totally honest. So same picture. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even remember that one all that well. Let's see what the lyrics are real quick. I didn't even put the lyrics in like an idiot. I'll have to listen to that one. I know what it is. I had done some promo about it. It's kind of like about COVID. So I wish I could listen to it. Okay, so I might have delved. It was either this song or the next song that I did kind of dive into easy drums a little bit. So in Christ My Hope, that one I was happy with. I did a lyric video for this one, and that's on YouTube. So I did use easy drums for this, and that was kind of my first, like, okay, I kind of understand the concept, but there's so much that you can play with where I just am excited to have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was my 6th song in 2024. All right, so She's Not You. That was kind of when I wanted to work around the content that I knew I could use to promote the song. So I wrote this country song, and I did this content from like country Christian artist moves to Nashville. Okay, so there was a couple skits on my channel about that. Weary is this sequence of songs. It ended up being an EP a little bit later in 2024, but Weary, Come and See, and then Storm and Battle right here. Those, my best friend in high school growing up, we were the kind of friends where you talk a couple times a year, or maybe like a couple times in the span of a couple years, but you just pick up where you leave off. He's really busy now. I won't say exactly what he does, but he'd kind of just doing music on the side and was wanting to get back into it. So I sent him, I was like, can you do a guitar track, electric guitar? He plays the guitar, plays a lot of stuff, but I was like, could you do an electric guitar track on the song Weary? I really liked the song, and I knew it just needed something other than what I could give it. But thankfully, so he comes back, and some of my promo on the channel for this song is this story, but he wants to produce the whole thing, which is awesome. We do it, and then I'm like, dude, I mean, you want to do another one? So Come and See was actually one of my favorite songs. We did Come and See next. I called it David's version because of the Taylor's version controversy. So my promo for this was like, oh, every time you re-record it, you know, it's always better than the original recording, like Taylor's version she did for her stuff. Okay, so moving up, we got Wedding Song. This was a song that I did piano and then a pretty basic beat, but I like that a lot for what it sounded like. Wedding Song I actually wrote I played it at my wedding, and I wrote it for my wife. There are the lyrics to it, get to it here, but if you want to check it out, it's got just a basic beat, which I like because it goes well because I played it with just piano at our wedding, so it was cool to be able to actually publish that one. And by this time I'm kind of understanding, I guess, vocal stuff a little bit, how to record it, and I don't have a vocal chain really, but I think at this point I had started using iZotope, some of their stuff, so I understand a little bit. So Beyond, actually, it goes down here in between You Are Still Good Acoustic and Finally. However, the issue was, it was those extras that got me. It was I got charged $6, and I was like, that's not worth it every year. So like I said, I'm cheap. I want to do it as cheaply as possible. So Beyond got re-released. I did throw a master on, I threw an Ozone master on it, and it brought out some stuff that sounded cool. So I might do that too. You Are Still Good at some point, but till then I will be charged for You Are Still Good just because it's kind of like my baby, my first release. So all right, then Storm and Battle was the third one that me and my friend Josh did together. This one was probably my favorite of the three. I really like Come and See, the lyrics, but it was cool. All right, so God Who Doesn't Change, and I'm still messing with effects. I'm still learning kind of the workstation and what I can do to a song, and just trying to be creative at little elements so that it doesn't all sound like piano, because when I write songs, they're with the piano. So this one, God Who Doesn't Change. Oh, also, one thing to note is that God Who Doesn't Change was Magic Media in Canva Pro. So you kind of just give the AI some prompts and then it spits out an image, and the same for Storm and Battle actually. Until then, I had just used Canva for the thumbnails. Oh, sorry, Weary, She's Not You, In Christ My Hope, same picture. Until same picture, I had started doing the Magic Media thing, but I was just kind of texting them and then, or putting the text as the title. And then I did that for same picture as well. But another tip I got from Nick D was he said that sometimes, I think he was talking about a song Motel 6, but just give the thing a prompt, and if you like it, use it, and you can tweak it. But yeah, so I started using the Magic Media for all of those, except for that one. That one had a pretty specific vision in our wedding picture. All right, and then I did want to look kind of similar as the original thumbnail for that. I just kind of made it a little cooler. But yeah, so God Who Doesn't Change. To me, there's too much reverb on the drums, but I listen back to it and it's like, whatever. Okay, so No More Grave was kind of where we start to get a little bit more unique sounding. I remember I plucked the chord on the piano, and I think with this one I used a kind of a basic beat, but then I added in a bass and a snare after into the original beat, so it sounds a little bit better. All right, but regardless, like I said, my self-conscious weakness is drums. So for Song of David, I wanted to use no drums, and I kind of got on this kick of, let me make the song so orchestral that you don't even need drums. So that was my goal with Song of David. Also, the Song of series kind of started, and I've only done two. I did Song of David and Song of Job, but I wrote songs from the perspective of a Bible character. So we get all these songs where people talk. There's a lot of songs that quote the Psalms and quote the Bible, which is awesome. But I just thought it'd be neat and kind of wanted to stretch my songwriting to where I was writing from the perspective of a character in the Bible. So that's what Song of David is. And then it was very easy for the chorus. David's one of my favorite Bible characters. So very easy in the chorus to pull Psalms from that he would have actually written. But then I made the verses parts of his life. So Hallelujah. That's another one with no drums. Let me see if I can listen to Shirley, because I did make a YouTube video for Shirley. Yeah, I don't think there's any drums. Yeah, so I really just wanted to kind of hang on the no drums and just kind of make all these instrumental parts. I really like the sound of it. All right, so then Come and See EP came out late 2024. WBFJ is our local radio station. They're kind of independent of a larger network. They do these local flavor, that's what the segment's called, where they interview a local artist and highlight some of their music and do a quick interview. It was really neat. It was a really cool opportunity. This was my second, or they re-aired the first one, and then this year that we did another one with these new songs. So that was a lot of fun. Okay, so Song of Job. I really like this one. This one, it's got one of my favorite lines in it in the bridge. God, you are Lord of all, giver of everything. It's you who are good, and it's me who should give you praise. You are the Lord, in your footsteps I'm following. It's you who restores. I'm just patient and suffering. And that was, patient and suffering was a line that Job says. And I really like that story. It's really meant a lot to me and my wife. Okay, so Song of Job, Never Know. I kind of got back to drums. I wanted to just get better and just continue doing it. That's another thing that with all this, the mindset of if you don't make it, it's because you quit. You know, the consistency, and just with everything you do, stuff here at church, stuff in my personal life, the consistency of doing it, you get better. So God Who Sees is another one. I really like Never Know. This one I wrote back in February or March, and I kind of made it a little bit peppier. It's kind of more of a sad one. It was written from a sermon that my pastor gave at this church. All right, so then Blue Eyes. This was one I wrote for my wife's anniversary. This was my last release of 2024. Kind of similar to the wedding song. It's got drums, and I really like this one. And then these are my two releases for January. I do not often have my stuff for the month in advance. Many times I'm trying to write it and then put it out and just meet the deadline of DistroKid. Okay. It worked out that I did these for January. I had just gotten over a really bad something, and my voice, I think you can tell I have a cold, or I'm coming off of something. But anyway, Write and Picasso are the ones for January, and then I'm working on right now. But so my goal for 2025 is I don't understand EQ at all. Like I said, I'm not a producer. Not that that's a prerequisite for understanding EQ, as I'm finding out. So my goal is to have a little bit of a better understanding of EQ, and I kind of get it for live stuff, but when you EQ digital signals for people to play music it's a lot different. So that's my goal for 2025. So hopefully there will be a year 2 playlist, and hopefully they sound better than year 1, because that's the goal, right? Consistency and getting to do it. But so with these releases, that's my 2024 recap. If you want to use DistroKid, I will definitely put my link in the comments, or not in the comments, but the description. And yeah, so this was a straight, I mean, sorry for how bad it was. I'm still learning content creation. So that's year 1 full of releases as an independent artist and producer. All right, thank y'all. Bye.